Now guys, you won't find this on the BBC, or at least I couldn't anyway, though I'm sure that won't surprise you. But since the very start of this disaster, almost a year ago now, big questions have remained in many people's minds. I have said it, you have all said it, but the media and politicians very rarely say anything that is actually useful. In fact, very few of them have even said a word about this and likely never will. Personally, I've literally tried to find another example of this country registering a death within 28 days of a test, regardless of what actually took them. But obviously I can't, because it never has. The media know this, and it should have sent alarm bells ringing, but it didn't, because they have all been complicit. Well, finally, it appears the Daily Mail have actually picked up on an avalanche of families demanding an inquiry into why their relative's death got listed as COVID, despite never testing positive and dying of conditions that they already had. Some of you might remember the 17-year-old who the Mail claimed died from the Rona, but it turns out he actually died from cancer. His dad complained about the media using it to push fear and compliance before it was quickly changed when he got the BBC to report on him calling them out. This is something I actually did a video on at the time and was also pointed out the other day in Parliament, along with flu vanishing like a fart in the wind by Tory MP Sir David Ames. Here, take a listen.
In the fullness of time, of course, there will be an inquiry into what has gone on since the pandemic has started. But I would ask the Department of Health and Social Care to look very closely into how coronavirus deaths have been recorded. I have too many constituents saying that they believe their relatives died with coronavirus but didn't die as a result of it. And frankly, the deaths from influenza are puzzling.
Now this, if it actually goes anywhere, which let's be honest, it really should, could actually see the figures revised down and giving us what we want. A bit of truth, because the government will have two choices from what I can tell. Either concede the case, change the policy and revise the figures down to prevent an inquiry this quickly, or start proving what they claim sooner than expected. Personally, I can't see them wanting to do the latter, let me tell you that, but multiple inquiries are a dead certain at this point. I'm sure the government does not want them started yet though. Anyway, like I said, the Mail Online have picked up on this, so let's check out what they had to say. It headlines, "What is the truth about COVID deaths? Grieving relatives along with MPs and top medics demand inquiries as families reveal more loved ones they believed were wrongly certified as virus victims." Which, as you all know, is something we have been saying for many times, and like I said, and you just see, even a couple of MPs are starting to call out. There was another case of it a few days before this one, but I can't remember who it was. Anyway, it goes on. Grieving families last night said deaths had wrongly been certified as COVID-19, demanding an inquiry. Top medical experts and MPs also insisted they were certain that too many fatalities were being blamed on the virus. Now that there is very important. Top medical experts and MPs. So YouTube, when you watch through this one, you can see there that this is actually medical experts and MPs saying this. Not me, so you can't shit your pants over it this time. One funeral director said it was a national scandal. The claims are part of a Daily Mail investigation that raises serious questions over the spiralling death toll. It says more than 100 readers wrote heartbreaking letters following a moving article by Belle Mooney last Saturday. She revealed the death of her 99-year-old father, who had suffered from dementia and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which was recorded as coronavirus. Dozens expressed similar frustrations that the cause of death of elderly and already unwell relatives had been wrongly attributed. 8 of the families who wrote to the Daily Mail have successfully urged doctors to change cause of death previously recorded as COVID-19. Which, if you ask me, is just a fucking travesty and I can't actually believe it happened. These families actually have to go to the doctors and make them change it because they're trying to put it as something it's not. This is just fucking incredible. And the next part here is just as incredible as well, because Layla Moran, the Liberal Democrat MP, is actually on the right side of an argument. Can you fucking believe it? It says Layla Moran, the Liberal Democrat MP who chairs the all-party parliamentary group on coronavirus, said the government should call a public inquiry into the handling of the pandemic immediately, with an interim investigation into all COVID deaths that should report as soon as possible. Now, I have to say, and it kinda makes me sick to do it, that I 100% agree with what Layla Moran has said there. Can you fucking believe this shit? If anyone can point to a time when Layla Moran has actually used common sense apart from in the last week or so, then please let me know. It goes on. Tory MP Paul Bristow, a member of the Commons Health Committee, said it's almost certain that a number of deaths have been wrongly attributed to COVID-19. Not only has this skewed the figures, when data has been so important in deciding how we respond to the pandemic, it has caused distress and anxiety for relatives, which is obviously a very important thing. I would actually say both things there are just as important. Responding to the pandemic using shit data has obviously fucked up many people's lives, but doing this to people who have lost their relatives is going to cause them endless pain. He goes on, whether we have received the most appropriate figures should definitely be considered in any future inquiry. Absolutely everything should be considered and investigated fully. Shit, I'm calling for criminal investigations at this point. Says here, a funeral director in the Northwest told the Mail the way COVID has been recorded and reported is a national scandal, and a thorough inquiry should be opened immediately. It should have been opened months ago at this point. Medical experts have cited pressure on doctors to include COVID-19 as a cause of death because it was last year ruled as a notifiable disease, meaning any cases needed to be reported officially, which is actually when they changed the rules around a doctor doing it. Now, literally one doctor can certify a death, when before it had to be two, and they had to jump through a bunch of hoops. Another one goes on here. Professor Claire Gerrard, former chairman of the Royal College of GPs, said, when this all comes out in the wash, we will find out we have over-recorded COVID-19 as a cause of death. Which is something, like I said, we have all been screaming and shouting about for many months now. Shit, I was saying it the very moment they changed it to 28 days within testing positive. That there just rings alarm bells in my mind. We then have a counter-argument here from Richard Vorty. This guy chairs the British Medical Association's GP committee. He said the toll may have been overstated at the beginning of the pandemic when testing was not widely available and cause of death would have been based on best judgment of clinical symptoms. Yes, but if someone has symptoms of coronavirus but there is no outbreak in the area, then I'm sorry to say you're just talking bollocks, which is obviously what the families are calling out here. In my mind, this guy is just playing a bit of damage control there, and let's be honest, the PCR test that they are using is a complete load of shit. Everything revolves around cycles and things like that, which obviously have been used too high, and they've actually been called out for it. I'm sure it was the British Medical Journal that did it maybe like 2-3 weeks ago now. A Department of Health spokesman said, we are confident the death statistics are robust and provide an accurate picture of those who have sadly died from the virus. Well, we should see that once the inquiry starts, or at least I hope we do. The guidance to doctors completing a medical certificate of cause of death explains they are expected to state a cause of death to the best of their medical knowledge and belief. Yeah, because you fucking changed it, which is obviously fishy as shit. Now further down it talks about all of the individuals who have been involved in this and the people that are complaining to the government, or at least getting the Daily Mail to do it, because as we know, the government will just straight up ignore them. I'm not going to read through it because they all are rather long. I will link it down below for you to go and check out yourself. It is well worth a read and literally says everything that I've already gone over, though I just gave you the TLDR of it. In my mind, this is a great thing, not only for the families who deserve to have the right thing listed as a death, but also for the country in general. As MPs have pointed out before, it seems the government was going for the #1 spot on the maximum amount of deaths they could list as coronavirus, because let's be honest, saying someone died within 28 days of a test is like saying someone died from being hit by a car when they was eaten by a shark or some crazy shit like that. It's just absolutely batshit crazy. I don't even need to say it. It seems really quite stupid that I have to sit here and talk about this. Surely every media outlet should have been all over it like a fly around shit. If it was to do with Brexit, you can bet your bollocks to a barn dance that they 100% would.